You might have heard of this one YouTuber, TFI Creations, but you might not have watched them. And this is both a video about why newcomers should watch their films and why people who have seen their films should appreciate them more. From filmmaking and story to their team and messages, despite their flaws, TFI Creations might just be the best Transformers channel on YouTube. Now, I suppose we could start at their stories. I'll pick out 3 of my favorites: Rollout, Gigawatt, and Interstellar. Starting on Interstellar, it follows a small team of Autobots on a desolate Earth with little to no hope of survival. There are great plot twists, excellent dialogue, and an overall surprisingly satisfying ending. Optimus' speech at the end is always heartbreaking for me. I love Barricade and Jetfire in this film, but then again, they're Barricade.
Are you username LadiesMan217?
And Jetfire.
Behold, the eternal glory of Gigawatt!
I even love Sentinel Prime, someone who I love to hate. Yeah, the film has its flaws, such as it being excessively dark, but those can be overlooked due to all of the greatness in it. Not perfect, but far from anything close to bad. And I won't discuss the sequel much, because honestly, I'm just not in the mood. Gigawatt follows just him, Gigawatt. For those of you who don't know, Gigawatt is a figure in the collaborative toy line, which is basically a ton of crossover figures. Gigawatt is a DMC-12 DeLorean from Back to the Future. The first film basically follows his creation and him trying to stop an event before it starts. I love how there's an equal chance of victory or defeat, and the audience is left wondering whether Gigawatt will succeed or fail. And when it wraps up and you see what happens, you're left confused. Then when he goes back, you know exactly what will happen. From what I've heard, the TFI team had a lot of fun working on this, which makes it even more fun to watch. Plus the fact that it's Transformers X Back to the Future film is good enough in its own right. Now, the sequel follows Gigawatt after he changed the future. It's fun watching future characters interact with him and acknowledge what will happen. Sure, it's predictable, but it's fun. It may not be as fun as the first, but it's better in terms of writing, which allows you to enjoy it the same. And at the end, once again, you are left confused. Then when you see what happens to the third film, it's just amazing. However, there's something even better. While Gigawatt is good, Roll Out is even better. Its message hits at home for me, but for now I'll just have to talk about the plot. It follows the Protectobots and Decepticons finding an artifact and racing to get to it first. The thing is, after Optimus leaves, it means that there has to be someone else on charge on Earth. And that's Ultra Nova, or when he has the armor, Ultra Magnus. He is very fit to lead. However, his second in command, not exactly. Hotspot has a mental disease in a war, which is not good. He has to overcome it with the help of his best friend, First Aid. Allow me to rant about why First Aid is my favorite character in anything TFI for a minute. I love First Aid in TFI. Everyone loves First Aid in TFI. He is such an amazing character. I cannot tell you how amazing he is. Honestly, he's just such a lovable character, well written, and fun, everything. Alright, back to the script. In the end, there's an epic battle between the forces of good and evil. The Decepticons versus the Autobots is a classic, an iconic battle, and here it is made beautiful. In the sequel, a Decepticon miner rebels and becomes the most powerful force in millions of years. Neither Autobot nor Decepticon. The Autobots and Decepticons must extremely reluctantly become allies in the sequel. Hotspot relates to his foe in one way, however you must kill him nonetheless. This trilogy makes me cry every time. With more than one of his closest allies gone, Hotspot has to be resilient and survive, which help inspire me and others in times of crisis. And that brings us to our next point, the messages. TFI is fantastic with their messages, but for now I'll just stick to Rollout. Rollout's message is that no matter the pain, or suffering, or madness, don't give in to the pain. It may be tempting, but when you don't, it will be better, and it will be okay. You don't have to hide your pain. People can help you more than you know. And despite your hesitation, your fear, and your anxiety, it'll be better if you don't give up. Remember, life is easier than you think. It may not be hospitable, but do not give in. Hotspot and first aid taught me that. Now, unfortunately, nothing is perfect. TFI does have flaws, but most are extremely minor flaws. The one I see brought up most often is that Interstellar is too dark, which I can't disagree with. Another flaw that I myself have noticed is that they can be repetitive sometimes. Same plot twist happens with Optimus in most of their films, for instance. As good as the plot twist was the first few times, it's become overused. But hey, at least they got Gary Chalk for it once. Their team is absolutely outstanding. Sam is kind, Zeta is Zeta, Coolright is cool, alright? Yeah, I know that was a bad pun. Their team's willingness to make these is unheard of. I heard that Sam, the main director, is dyslexic. Yet he still makes these amazing films. Sam specifically pointed out that the other members of the team don't get much attention and wanted me to mention them, which I was already going to do. But either way, I'm going to make a montage of each of them. I'm sure that there's infinitely more. However, for now, I'll just stick to them so that this video isn't 10 hours long. Their filmmaking certainly helps them. I learned 3 important things from them. 1, stop motion is hard outside. 2, it's easy enough to use strings for stuff. 3, always, and I mean always, have Pop-Tarts on set. All jokes aside, their behind-the-scenes videos really help people who want to start filmmaking and filmmakers who need help. It's extremely useful and surprisingly easy to follow. Their cinematography is great too. They can get beautifully fantastic shots. Their style is unique too. Sure, it's just that they can make things easier for themselves, but it's great nonetheless. And I couldn't imagine them doing anything else. Now, I ask you one more thing. What does TFI mean to you?